Hey, I'm Courtney Waterman, your tutor. Lover of anime, manga, and math. And you just tuned into another session of Tutor Me Sempai. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're jumping into an 8th grade topic, powers of powers. Now, if you're new to my channel, I'm putting timecodes in for this video in the description box below. So use that to skip ahead to whatever part of the video you think is most interesting. As always, if you have any questions about what you see here today, or even your own homework, you can always put in the comment box below, or visit me on my Facebook page at Tutor Me Sempai and tell me all about it there. Today's video will have 3 parts, so leave a like, smash the subscribe, and let's get started. At this point, we've covered how to multiply exponents and how to divide exponents. And really, that just means we multiply expressions with exponents and we divide expressions with exponents. However, we're going to be stepping it up and talking about powers of powers today. So let's say we have something like this. 2 to the 5th raised to the 2nd power. This is what we refer to when we're talking about powers of powers. You're going to have some base raised to some exponent here, and this entire thing is going to be raised to another exponent. So it doesn't really matter what your base is, and it really doesn't matter what your exponents are, but this is going to be the most basic look of your powers of powers. Now remember, we said your bases can be numbers, it can be variables, it can be expressions, and same thing is going to be true for your exponents. So don't get caught up too much on what's in here. Just look at the general shape of this, essentially. Look at what makes it up. You're going to have some expression which has a base and an exponent raised to another exponent. Powers of powers. So this is how it looks. But how does it work? What do we do in this case in order to get our answer? What does this equal? So there are a few different ways you can actually go about solving this. And there is a very quick and easy way that we're going to talk about today. And that is quite literally multiply the actual exponents. So unlike multiplying your exponents that we talked about 2 weeks ago, in which you really just added your exponents, you're multiplying the expression, in this case, you literally multiply the exponents. 5 and 2, multiply them. So you're going to get, what's 5 times 2? So you're going to have the same base. Make sure you always keep your same base. And 5 times 2 is going to give you 10. This is what we mean by powers of powers. The shortcut, quick, easy, dirty way, 5 times 2. Multiply your exponents. How about this one? 3 to the 4th, all raised to the 3rd power. What are we going to do here? Once again, we're just going to multiply your exponents. So you keep that same base. And what's 4 times 3? 12. How about something like this? What are we going to do in order to find our answer here? The same thing we just did for the first 2. We're going to multiply your exponents. 4 times 50. So you keep that same base of 10. Notice we're never changing the base. You keep the same base of 10 and you multiply your exponents. So this is going to be 10 to the 200th power. It doesn't really matter how big your exponents are. Remember, I don't care what your exponents are. This is how you're going to simplify, if not solve, your powers of powers. So we see how we can do this, very easily how we can figure out our powers of powers, but why does that work? Why is multiplying the exponents the answer that we've been looking for? Well, it boils down to what exponents really are. If you think about it, exponents in its very core, the very basic form of an exponent, is just a shorthand for multiplication. So let's say you have 5 cubed, right? This is just a shorthand for 5 times 5 times 5. You're going to have the base, and it's going to be multiplied the exponent many times. So this expression with an exponent is really just a shorthand for multiplication. Exponents are a shorthand for multiplication. We don't have to write out this whole long thing. If we had 5 to the 10th power, that would be a lot of 5s. Boom. It would be a lot of 5s. Do you want to write this out every time in order to find out this answer? No. And I wouldn't either. So instead of writing out that whole thing, we can easily just sum it up with an exponent. So that is what at its core exponents stand for, a shorthand for multiplication. And in this case, powers of powers, it's going to be the same thing. So instead of having, let's say, 5 cubed squared, instead of writing out the entire thing, we can write this. Well, what is the entire thing that we're supposed to be writing? Well, we're cubing this, right? That means you write the base that many times. We're squaring this, which means you write the base, which is going to be whatever you're going to raise into the second power, that many times. There you go. This is going to be equivalent to this. So instead of writing out all of these, you can just write this. And you see why multiplying is going to be the answer. Because each base has that same exponent there, we're going to be adding across the tops like we learned about 2 weeks ago, adding across the tops, which is just going to be adding the same number to itself this many times. And we know that adding the same number multiple times is equivalent to multiplying that number by the amount of times it's supposed to appear. So in this case, it appears 2 times, so 3 times 2 is going to give us our answer. So don't ever forget what exponents stand for. Although this looks pretty different from what we're used to seeing, at its core, it's just an exponent. This is just your base. The whole thing in there is just your base. So instead of writing all that out, we're just saving ourselves a couple steps. So the last part of this video is really a bonus. And what I mean by that is, this is something that I promised 2 weeks ago when we talked about multiplying exponents, that we would show how to do this quicker. A nice, easier way, because we had to write out a bunch of stuff, do a little bit more math than necessary when we talked about it in that first video. But now that we've covered powers of powers, I want to show you how we can use that concept to make this a little bit cleaner. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, if you haven't seen that other video, don't worry, I'll put it right up here. You can check it out at any time. And I'm going to go over this kind of quickly because we broke it down pretty nicely in that other video, so no need to redo that same work twice. But I want to show you how powers of powers does make this simpler. Less work, less potential chances to mess things up because you're doing less math. So at this point in time, we know that in order to multiply this, you need like bases. However, at first glance, these are not like bases. We know that 3 and 27 are not the same number. But we know better as well. 27 can be transformed into 3 because of the powers of 3. If you multiply 3 by itself multiple times, eventually you will get 27. Now, what is that multiple times? 3 times 3 times 3 gives us 27, so that means 3 cubed is going to be equal 27. 3 cubed equals 27. So we're going to use this fact and rewrite what we have here. So this is going to be our true question for today. 3 times 3 cubed, remember that's 27, put that in parentheses because we want to kind of keep this, and I can just draw parentheses around the 27 just so you can see the relationship, cubed. So everything is accounted for. This exponent is the same as this exponent. This 3 cubed we said is equal to 27, so 27, 3 cubed, same thing. This 3 squared is the same as this 3 squared. Now instead of writing out a ton of stuff, we can use power of powers. So 3 cubed raised to the third power means what are we going to do? Multiply these exponents. So this is going to equal 3 squared times 3, what's 3 times 3? 9. 3 to the 9th. And your last part, now we have same basis. We know to add across the tops. You're going to get 3 to the 11th power, which is the same exact answer we got in the first video 2 weeks ago. However, you see this is a lot less work. We're not having to do 3 times 3 times 3. We're not having to do 3 cubed times 3 cubed times 3 cubed like we did in the other video. It was a lot that you could potentially mess up if you're being careless. This case, we did things so much cleaner, so much simpler, and we're getting the same exact answer utilizing something that we just learned called powers of powers. So I hope you follow on to the examples, and I hope you see that powers of powers is quite simple. all you have to do, multiply your exponents. But if you have any questions about what we saw today, or even your own homework, remember you can always put in the comment box below, or visit me on my Facebook page at Tutor Me Sempai and tell me all about it there. If you haven't done so already, remember to leave a like. It really helps the channel by letting YouTube know that you found this video helpful. And if you found a video helpful, so can someone else. So leave that like, hit the notification bell, smash the subscribe button, and share this video with a friend. Well, that's all the time I have for today. I really hope it's helped with your homework. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. I'm Courtney, and this is another session of Tutor Me Sempai.